Joe, Gavin, and George, along with the rest of their family, have worked very hard to build their empire.
Wanted to create the ultimate party place.
Perhaps her performance was less than polished because of all the partying she got in Sin City rather than rehearsal time. Late Friday night, Britney hit 3 hotspots and was snapped at Caesar's Palace at Pure nightclub with P. Diddy. Saturday night, she hit the dance floor again. And last night, after leaving the awards, Britney was spotted at Noir nightclub until 2:30 this morning, where she apparently spent most of her time in the restroom.
Say, give Britney a break.
Get Britney off any woman or children.
25 years old, and she's already accomplished everything she's going to accomplish in her life. It's mind-blowing.
This is the MTV VH1 Viacom hit.
Please do not send any hate or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you.
Welcome to BJ Investigates. We're going to talk about P. Diddy. Now, we already talked about him actually once on this channel. Go check that video out if you haven't already, but you don't necessarily need to have seen that one to keep up with this one, so stick around for this one first. Now, you might have seen it in the news, on the social media, on the Facebook, on the Twitter, on the anywhere on earth, if you've been around for the last 2 weeks, that P. Diddy's houses/mansions did get raided. The feds were raiding the one in Miami. They were raiding the one in New York. They were raiding the one in California, and they were raiding them all at the same time. Now, this does seem to be a little bit of a long time coming for P. Diddy, because ever since November, whenever Cassie, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, who's also a singer, filed that lawsuit against him, people have been coming out of the woodwork, and it's been men and women who have basically alleged that P. Diddy was doing all types of untoward behaviors. And this behavior included things such as them, sexually abusing them, physically abusing them, and all kinds of other things that I probably can't even say on this channel or in mixed company. But anyway, basically these lawsuits, in particular the most recent lawsuit filed by a producer who worked on Diddy's album named Lil Rod, it seems like these lawsuits have pretty much acted as a catalyst to make the feds finally do something and look into P. Diddy. And people are naming names. I mean, other people's names are coming out either as supporters or opposition to P. Diddy. We got 50 Cent coming out. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on. I literally have done several live streams, all of which are more than an hour long. If you're dying to know all of the minute details, you should go check those out. But today I want to talk about something that I really haven't seen anybody talking about, and that is relating to P. Diddy's connection to Britney Spears, in particular, very specifically, the infamous 2007 comeback VMAs performance. You know, the one where Britney got basically sabotaged. Her hair stylist didn't show up. Her makeup artist was sabotaging her. She was supposed to perform with Chris Angel, and then he didn't even show up. She was right in the middle of a custody battle. Remember all of that? And she wrote about it in her book. They talked about it, I think, on the Framing Britney Spears documentary. I mean, it was a bloodbath in the media over Britney Spears. They were calling her fat. They were calling her out of shape. They were calling her everything but a child of God. We'll put some clips in here from the news from that time, but it was vicious. Come to find out, and I got to give Ethan a little credit on finding this, P. Diddy was very much involved in what appears to be, in my opinion and speculation theory, a complete setup. So let's get into the evidence of why I think that might have been. So first of all, let's travel back to January 1st, 2007. That's New Year's Day, 2007. Now remember, Britney would not get put into her 13-year-long unconstitutional conservatorship for a whole nother, basically, year in February 2008. But the 2007 year was essentially like the build-up to the conservatorship. It was the year she shaved her head. It was the year Lou Taylor came into the picture. We'll get into that later. But let's rewind back in time to January 2007. I do believe January 2007 was the first forced intervention that Britney did face, where Larry Rudolph was there and Betty Wyman was there. That woman has all kind of connections as well. She was the first Hollywood sober coach. I think it was during January that intervention did happen, and then she went to this rehab in Antigua owned by Eric Clapton.
Not where Diddy ran away to.
Or he didn't make it. We got Belize and Antigua popping up several times. Anyway, all that to say, let's get in the time machine. Now we're January 1st, New Year's Day 2007. So we'll put this clip right here. And it's, Britney rang in the new year that night at Pure nightclub in Las Vegas.
She needs no introduction. Arguably the biggest pop star ever.
What's up, Vegas? Are you guys happy to be here right now? I am too. You guys got anything television? It's 27 seconds. 25. Just remember, what happens in Vegas always stays. Are you guys ready? Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
She was hosting their New Year's Eve bash for the year. And this is a common thing. They used to have Lindsay Lohan doing it, Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian. But Britney Spears has always been the queen of the queens. So, of course, it was a big deal. Britney was going to be hosting their New Year's bash. And if you're in the Britney stan, Free Britney world, then you will recognize this hosting appearance as the one where Britney is literally passing out. Like right as the new year rang in, it wasn't long after that before Britney was being essentially carried out of this club, and it's been widely speculated that maybe she was drugged or maybe she just got a little bit too drunk or whatever. But Larry Rudolph, who is another familiar player here, he's associated with the Pussycat Dolls and all of them, he was Britney's manager for like 20 years and for the entire time during which she was in the conservatorship. So he would later come out and say to the news the following quote: "By 1 o'clock she was done, so we took her out. She was not drunk, she was just tired and falling asleep." There is nothing out of the ordinary here. What? It's very out of the ordinary. The girl is 12 o'clock, she's a young woman and she's passing out. What do you mean there's nothing out of the ordinary? She's getting carried out of the club. That's out of the ordinary for me. Anyway, there were conflicting reports about what happened, and news outlets were reporting that witnesses said that Britney was talking to one of her male dancers on a cabana bed when she said she wanted to leave. So she was trying to get out of there. According to the witnesses, she stood up and fainted on the floor. The group pulled her onto the bed and called security to get her out as quickly as possible, and she was then escorted out of the club. I mean, escorted, carried out, semantics. Anyway, according to this Fox News article, one woman in Britney's entourage yelled, "Make sure nobody gets any photos, no photos anywhere." Then in this other article from AOL City Guide, written by none other than the lifestyles of the rich and famous Robin Leach, remember that show? We'll put a little, but he probably did one on Britney. That man, he would say the following quote: "When the 12-strong security phalanx was in place, two of her dancers wrapped Britney in what appeared to be a blanket hooded poncho." Okay, she had a Snuggie. "Literally carrying her in both arms, they managed to propel her through the crowds and out of the club. It appeared as if she was being dragged, as she wasn't walking under her own speed," one eyewitness reported. But this Pure nightclub where she was, I just wanted a little caveat right here, a little side note what this Pure nightclub even is. It was located within Caesar's Palace, which is the hotel in Las Vegas, and it was operated until 2014 when it was purchased and rebranded by Hakkasan Group and is now known as Omnia Club. So it was the club that's now known as Omnia. It used to be called Pure, and that's whenever, 2007, Britney was passing out in there or whatever. Now, up until its purchase in 2014, that's when it was owned by the Pure Management Group, and the investors in the Pure Management Group include Shaquille O'Neal,
Andre Agassi.
Who that?
He's like the tennis player that won I think he won Olympics around.
Some famous tennis guy or something that people really care about named Andre Agassi, and none other than Celine Dion. Now, Celine Dion was an investor in the group that owned the Pure nightclub, which is interesting to me because she did also have a Vegas residency for a time. So maybe she was investing in Vegas with her own self or something. But then again, whenever they tell you that Shaq and Celine Dion and Britney Spears are investing in things, just remember, behind every Britney Spears, there's a Lou Taylor who's deciding what to invest in, or a Robin Krasny with her clown collar. So it's not really like, for the most part, these celebrities are just sitting around deciding what to invest in. So it would not surprise me that Celine Dion would have a management team that would be investing in nightclubs in Vegas when she had a Vegas residency. I don't know if she had a Vegas residency that year, but Anyway, so I just thought that was interesting, the Pure nightclub thing. Oh, right. They also own the Pussycat Dolls Lounge, which... a whole nother thing. Thumbnail, all that. So now let's get into the timeline of events that was leading up to that infamous 2007 VMAs fiasco performance. And I'm not saying Britney was the fiasco. It was everything else. So February 2007, we'll start there. That is a month after the passing out in Vegas incident that just occurred. And February 2007 would be exactly a year before the conservatorship would begin. February 2007 is when Britney did shave shave her head in the famous Esther's salon fiasco, and I think that hair sold for like $1 million or something, but I digress. So this is the springtime, and she had been partying with her cousin, and at that time I believe personal assistant Allie Sims, and they were out here with their matching white Versace bags and all of that, and they were just kind of partying. She was young. I think she had just had her second kid, and she was just having fun. She was constantly going to the studio and the Rite Aid alongside this famous like South African Israeli record producer.
בהם נראה כשהוא מתנשק עם בריטני ספירס, כל העולם התחיל לדבר על ג'יי הרוטר.
There's rumors that connected the two of you. Any comment about that? I can't really comment on that. Sorry.
And I should really say infamous, because he's one of those types, like the sort of handler types. You just kind of see him all the time around and you're not exactly sure what he's doing.
Me and Paris are also, friends, good friends. As far as how, it affected their relationship, I really can't comment on that.
But in his case, he was a producer, and he was alleged to be producing songs on Britney's upcoming album that...
You also produced for her ex-husband, so was there any problem with that? No, there wasn't really any problem. I met them, I think it was in Las Vegas. I was working with her, and then I met him. And so, gave him some tracks for his album.
Those songs really never saw the light of day, except maybe one or something. But she was out and about with this guy. What's his name? Rodham? And he's famous, y'all.
This is 50 Cent for the last album, Massacre, of which I did 2 songs on. This is D12, who I worked with. I worked with D12 and Eminem. This is for Rihanna's SOS. This was the first placement that I ever got, as I was telling you before, on the Destiny's Child Survivor album. And then everybody was coming, not just hip-hop, Then I was in with Britney Spears.
I mean, he's done songs with, who's that, Ayaz? I don't know.
There's a Shawty, like a melody in my head. He's done like all those like big, like you spin me right round.
So this guy produces songs that get stuck in your head. The ones you can never get out of your head. And then he literally says it. Like a melody in my head that I can't get out. Like he's that, like the spin my head right around. They wait the beautiful girl. So he's doing the ones that you've been having stuck in your head since 2006 when you heard it for the first time. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
The first records that I heard was Kaveri. The sound of that is still like in my head and influences my music now. What else? Israeli children's album like Kishkashta.
Anyway, here she is walking around with him in a bunch of different pictures. And he actually, like I said, had a very prolific pop career in the late 2000s and the early 2010s. Anyway, he was there with Britney a lot, and he was going to the studio for Blackout with her. Only one of his tracks ever surfaced, and it was on the Japanese bonus track edition of Blackout, so it didn't end up working out for him. So here she is again inside the Rite Aid with her copy of the Zohar, looking like she might have just picked up her prescriptions or something with this same white bag. I mean, the girl used the same bag all year. It looked like she really loved it. And I do believe that about her, because she has had a white Mercedes convertible since like 2001 and just keeps upgrading. So she does seem to like what she likes.
Lou Taylor probably has more purses than her.
Well, with her money, Lou Taylor probably bought more purses with Britney's money than Britney. Yeah, I would agree. Probably. I don't know. I wasn't there. Anyway, so by summer 2007, there are reports of Britney's imminent comeback. And some like actual demos started to be, quote, leaked and started to surface, but I think they were leaked on purpose to Perez Hilton, who would later end up on tour with Britney just like the next year or 2 years later, but that's neither here nor there. Some of her songs did start to leak, and it's most likely because they were trying to gauge public interest on which songs people were actually gonna like. In early August 2007, speculation would arise that Britney and Chris Angel Mindfreak were dating. They would be seen a few times together by the paparazzi, and there's also this video of Britney allegedly spending a night with him at his hotel, August 15, 2007.
Hey guys, get ready for the VMAs.
Gentlemen, you have to leave the hotel, thank you.
Are you getting ready for the VMA, Britney? Thank you.
I think Exit 17 is cool. You guys are really sweet. I don't know what to say. I don't feel good right now.
All right.
So fast forward, now we're in the fall, August 2007, and Britney hosts another event. This time it was the grand opening of a bar or a club called LAX, which was inside the Luxor.
Superstar who's hosting tonight is here. Give it up for Miss Britney Spears!
something else inside the Luxor? Carrot Top?
He's coming up.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Britney hosts this grand opening August 2007. Now, the VMAs are going to happen the next month, September 2007. So here's the month leading up. She's in Vegas. The VMAs are in Vegas. Did you know that? Everybody thinks that they're in LA. They're in Vegas. And you've been around Vegas. Don't get me started on that big orb. I'm not a fan. I know, you don't hate it as much as me. You think it's cute. I could go on a whole video. Let me stop. Anyway, so Britney's in Vegas. It's the month before the VMAs. She's opening this brand new nightclub, LAX, inside of this very fancy Vegas hotel.
How you guys feeling? All right, you guys have a good night. Listen to the music. Check out the DJ, and let's rock.
And who's with her? None other than Criss Angel, who's supposed to accompany her in the VMA performance next month, but then he doesn't. He stands her up. He ghosts her. And now I'm starting to feel like somebody told him to because it was a setup, but what do I know? Anyway, here's a picture of her with him. Also, Carrot Top. Listen, sometimes I regret that we have such HD cameras. And it's this picture of Carrot Top is Exhibit A.
So he still has a residency at the Luxor.
So he basically is property of the Luxor, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it was 2007. So what is that, like 16 years ago? 17 years ago? And then there's this weird human centipede of sorts with Britney, and then there's Criss Angel, and then some guy that looks like he might be the guy from the Pawn Stars. Is this the guy from the Pawn Stars? Or is he just a bodyguard? Or both? They're in Vegas. He could be there. Anyway, so that's August. She's opening the LAX club at the Luxor. So the next month, let's fast forward, September 6th. 2007. Britney is spotted again with her cousin Allie. Again, their little matching purses. And she has some type of inhaler. And it does appear to be for medical purposes. It does seem like it, has her name on it and stuff. I don't know. Y'all tell me. It looks like an inhaler to me. And her iconic, notable fashion statement of a Starbucks cup. And then she had this one piece of paper. Who knows what the paper was? I don't know. But reportedly, Allie and Britney went to Opera nightclub in Hollywood. Although I never found any Getty Images photos of that. So I don't know if that's true or not. So it came from Perez Hilton's abuse vlog, so take it with a grain of salt, consider the source or whatever. But also, side note, what is the deal with this bag? I don't know. I mean, I don't think Lou Taylor had her money yet, so I don't know why they're always just carrying this bag, and when she's not carrying it, one of these producers who I never heard a song he produced with her one time in my life, so I don't know if that's even true. I don't know what this bag is about. Maybe she just likes her bag. I don't know. So fast forward to the next day, and she's back in Vegas again, ready to prepare for the VMAs, or maybe not. So here's a People magazine article, and I did discuss this on my live from a couple days ago, might have been yesterday, but first she hung out with Criss Angel again at Body English in the Hard Rock Hotel. Britney and her pals, who had a VIP table surrounded with 5 dozen roses, were joined by Illusionist. I'm happy they called him that. With whom she's been rehearsing. She was supposed to perform with him. He ghosted her, okay? But she's here rehearsing with him. Quote, she wouldn't stop dancing with her friends, and she looked great, an onlooker said. After about an hour, Britney left hand in hand with Criss Angel. Then P. Diddy hosted an event at the Pure nightclub. Now, Britney was there in January hosting an event. So now it's P. Diddy's turn to host an event at the Pure nightclub that's in the Caesars Palace Hotel in Vegas. This back in 2007. Then he comes up on the mic and makes the following statement. Listen up, we have Miss Britney Spears in the crowd, Diddy announced from the main stage at 2 a.m. on Saturday. So this is I can't help but consider this to be anything other than a P. Diddy party. I mean, I think people are even wearing, the white clothes and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I'm getting confused. But Britney had slipped into the club through a side door with 6 girlfriends wearing a strapless black mini dress. She held court in the VIP area, smiling, sipping champagne, and dancing barefoot on a couch. That sounds like the only thing I would be trying to do. It's just sitting with my friends and standing on the couch with no shoes on. At one point, Diddy got on the microphone and told the crowd, Britney, she holds her head up high, show some respect. To which Britney immediately put her head down and hid her face until Diddy started playing, or had the DJ or whatever start playing Britney's newly released song, Gimme More. So once they started playing Gimme More, apparently that was the trigger to make her stop hiding her face and to stand up and dance or whatever, which I don't know what that's about. She left the P. Diddy party around 2:30 a.m., smiling and waving to the crowd as she walked through a path cleared by security guards and headed to Noir Bar at the Luxor. So she keeps kind of hopping back and forth from the Caesars Palace to the Luxor, from the Caesars Palace to the Luxor. P. Diddy's opening a club, she's opening a club, they're going to Pure, he's going to Pure. It's kind of the same places, but maybe they just like those places, girl. I don't know. Anyway, the party appearance capped a busy day for Britney, who arrived in Vegas Friday and rehearsed behind closed doors in the Palms Casino Resort's Pearl Theater for her, quote, comeback performance. And that performance, and I had forgotten this, I don't know if I ever even actually knew it, was the VMAs opener. So I've always kind of blamed the VMAs for this setup of sorts and this sabotage, but now I'm realizing it might have also been a whole industry-wide web worth of people to set it up, because everybody knows that there has to be like some event at the VMAs for people to talk about it. It's gotta be Miley Cyrus with a foam finger. It's gotta be Britney Spears with a yellow snake. It's gotta be Kanye West about to let Taylor Swift finish, but then Beyonce had one of the whatever of all time or whatever. It's always gotta be some event. And it's clear as day now in retrospect looking back, this was the event. The event was to humiliate and embarrass and sabotage Britney Spears, who was already going through a tremendous amount of turmoil in her life. So she was supposed to open the VMAs. The hair people were sabotaging her. Chris Angel didn't show up. He had a whole illusion routine, and she just basically got thrown out there in a bikini by herself naked on a stage. Anyway, then there's a quote from this weirdo that holds her purse about she's focusing on performing or something. I mean, I don't really know. He's such a plant in my opinion. He's talking about how Britney is focusing on performing and she's in a more mature place, but it kind of isn't reconcilable with the fact that she's been club hopping for the last 3 nights in a row in Vegas or whatever. Anyway, so I think the next day rolls around, September 8th, and 50 Cent hosted a party and performed at the Hard Rock. Again, we've already been there. It's like one of the same places that they all go. And Britney is seen yet again partying with P. Diddy and her cousin, Allie Sims. But this time, Paris Hilton is there, and so is 50 Cent. Now, we do know that 50 Cent and P. Diddy have since had a falling out because they do not get along and they do not like each other, at least as far as public appearances are concerned. They also went to Cassie's 21st birthday party that same night at Jet nightclub, which is in a completely different casino, the Mirage. But here's some pictures from that night, and Britney's there with Diddy. I mean, there's this very strange picture of some man like picking her up. It looks like maybe she's not in full control of her faculties. There's a picture of her with Diddy and Cassie with her birthday cake. I remember she's 21 years old. Now, at this point, is Diddy dating Cassie?
I feel like, yeah.
He had to be, because I think he signed her and started dating her like at the same time. So I think Diddy had already started dating Cassie. And again, it's like, you know, the tall tees, the white tees, Britney's there. She's got her fedora. Some of the pictures she looks like she's having fun, but some of the pictures she looks like she's not in full control of her faculties. And I just have to wonder, is that one of the alleged, you know, Ciroc bottles that had the special stash in it? You know, I don't know. I can't speculate even, but I do wonder. So the next day rolls around and Britney's rehearsing, and there's a lot of media drumming up. Like, Britney's gonna be at the VMAs, Britney's gonna do a comeback, Britney, like a drumming up. Britney spotted at rehearsals, Britney, like.
Are you looking forward to Britney doing her big performance? I'm looking forward to Britney. I still love Britney. You know, even though everything that she's been through, I still love her, so.
I'm excited to see her now than I would have been a little while back. It's more exciting, right?
Britney could be a huge train wreck or a gigantic train wreck. Right now, it could go either way. I'm putting my money on it being mind-blowingly terrible in a great way.
It's the MTV Video Music Awards right in the middle of the Palms Hotel Casino in Las Vegas. Celebrities gathered to talk about Britney buzz and their own nominations.
Everybody's just excited to see what she's going to bring. So, I mean, we're no different. You know, we're not an exception. We want to see what she's going to do. I mean, she got to top the snake. She got to top the kiss, you know, so she just got to bring it.
We're really, really excited. We really are hoping for the comeback of the millennium, if not the bi-millennium, whatever you call 2 millenniums.
Genuine. It's genuine. It seems forced. It's genuine.
I mean, we're all talking about it because we're all in her personal business. I'm happy that she's doing music tonight so we can get out of her personal business and start getting back to the music. That's what it's about, you know what I mean?
I think it's great for her. I think I want to see her do good. I want to see her be the Britney she was, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody's giving her bad press now. But I want her to come out on top and be herself and be good. So I'm rooting for her. She's my label maker.
She's become bigger than herself. You know what I mean? Just from the beginning, it was like this girl with blonde hair who sang and did pop records, and now it's this girl with blonde hair who sang and did pop records, had 2 kids, got me. You know what I mean? Like, we all know her story, and it's at times unfortunate, but at the same time, it's interesting.
We already did several episodes of BJ Investigates on the Britney industrial complex and just how there were like several entire economies that were propped up on just Britney Spears alone. We also mentioned it briefly in the Amanda Bynes coverage as well, but it's like they're drumming up their product to put out on the VMAs, and obviously they were gonna sabotage her the whole time.
Anything in the show tonight, or are you just sitting in the audience?
I don't even think I'm gonna be in the audience. I'm just in the green room.
I'm just gonna sit by the bar and
I'm gonna get wasted.
the 2007 Video Music Awards. Now it's time to head inside and see if Britney can have her big comeback.
So there's a few different rehearsals leading up to the performance of Gimme More. There's also speculation over MTV's sabotage with the camera angles. MTV knew what they were doing when they added the wide angle at the last minute. She looks better in a ponytail and jeans. I don't know why they finally released her with this hairstyle and clothes, but Britney is a legend icon anyway. So basically MTV edited the live performance to cut away whenever she did choreography sections and show only the pole dancers, and cut back to Britney when she was transitioning between moves, so it would look like all she did was walk across the stage and grind on her dancers the entire performance. This could have been a huge comeback with such a fresh and danceable song. WTF is the camera being used at the VMA. She looks 15 pounds heavier than she is, and I don't know what happened to her hair, but it went a mess. Her people failed her, and the media made it look way worse than it was. She did perfect performances her whole life and gets 190% and everyone freaks out. She seemed more confident in the ponytail in the dress rehearsal and looked better. This performance was set to fail, and yet it's her most iconic performance. Yes, David. Cameras were not flattering. She was way skinnier than she appeared. Hair and costume were set to fail as well. It was all on purpose without her knowledge or having a say, but still iconic. True. And she wrote about it in her book, Blackout. The thing I'm most proud of in my whole career came out right around Halloween in 2007. I was supposed to perform Gimme More at the VMAs to help promote it. I did not want to, but my team was pressuring me to get out there and show the world I was fine. The only problem with this plan, I was not fine. Backstage at the VMAs that night, nothing was going right. There was a problem with my costume and with my hair extensions. I hadn't slept the night before. I was dizzy. It was less than a year since I had my second baby in 2 years, but everyone was acting like my not having six-pack abs was offensive. I couldn't believe I was gonna have to go out on stage feeling the way I felt. And then I ran into Justin backstage. It had been a while since I'd seen him. Everything was going great in his world, and he was at the top of his game in every way, and he had a lot of swagger. I was having a panic attack. I hadn't rehearsed enough. I hated the way I looked, and I knew it was going to be bad. I went out there and did the best I could at that moment in time, which, yes, granted, was far from my best at other times. I could see myself on video throughout the auditorium while I performed, and it was like looking at myself in a funhouse mirror. I'm not going to defend that performance or say it was good, but I will say that as performers, we all have a bad night. They don't usually have consequences so extreme. You also don't usually have one of the worst days of your life in the same exact place and time that your ex has one of his best. Justin glided down the runway into his performance. He was flirting with the girls in the audience, including one who turned around and arched her back, shaking her breasts as he sang to her. When he was sharing the stage with Nelly Furtado and Timbaland, so fun, so free, so light. Later that night, the comedian Sarah Silverman came out on stage to roast me. She said that at the age of 25, I'd done everything worthwhile in my life that I would ever do. She called my two babies, quote, the most adorable mistakes you'll ever see. I didn't hear that until later, though. At the time, I was backstage, sobbing hysterically. The newspapers made fun of my body and my performance. Dr. Phil called it a train wreck. I would like to see him put that outfit on. Even back then, I would like to see him put that outfit on, put them hair extensions in, on his clown ring growth pattern that he has, and go out and perform something. And then we'll compare Britney's performance to his. And he didn't even just have babies. So who's the real train wreck? Bald ass, head ass bitch. Yep, gang stalking. It's exactly what it is. The whole performance was sabotaged. Again, Chris Angel, who she had been rehearsing with, who had been all in the media as they had been rehearsing, he ghosted, he backed out, abandoned her, neglected her. And you might be wondering, okay, what's the deal with Vegas? Like, why was Britney all up in the Vegas scene anyway? And good question. The answer is they have been trying to revive Vegas back to its 80s glory for a long time. I don't know if y'all knew this, but Mormons and the mafia set up Las Vegas so they could go over there and do whatever they wanted to do outside of, civilized society. But now it's been reincorporated back into civilized society, and we're uncovering all the debauchery that's been going over there as part of the ordinary course of business. In the mid to late 2000s, they were trying to like drum up the Vegas party scene. They were really focusing on it a lot. Like we just discussed with P. Diddy, 50 Cent, Paris Hilton, all these people coming to Vegas. They didn't have to do that. They lived in LA or they lived in New York or whatever. They were coming there to party and to, I think, advertise Las Vegas so that more people would want to go there. American celebrity culture, like I said, was shifting their attention from the exclusive LA and New York nightclubs. And those nightclubs are also infamous, like the Viper Room, formerly owned by Johnny Depp, and the Bungalow 8. And they were being paid. Don't make no mistake. They were getting paid for these performances and these appearances, opening up the clubs, the grand openings and all of that. So as a paycheck. And as an observer and pop culture historian, looking back at this time, along the recession and rise of EDM electronic dance music, Las Vegas was also undergoing a sort of rebrand of its own for the upcoming celebrity-obsessed millennial and Gen X crowd. So in the early 2000s and even the mid 2000s, up to the late, up to 2007, 2008, Paris Hilton and Britney Spears were really the north, node of the compass. They were directing the crowd in what was cool and what was trendy. So Britney, Paris, P. Diddy, and other famous celebrities at the time were being paid for their appearances, to host parties. It also seems like MTV had started to sink their teeth into Vegas, shifting the venue for the VMAs around that time to Las Vegas from LA, and they would do it at the Palms Casino Resort. And that's where we want to put a little bow around the whole thing here, because there is a complete and total rabbit hole that one day I'm going to go down, and it has to do with these Maloofs.
What have you done to your casino here? It's all gone.
It's all gone. It's a special opportunity, chance of a lifetime, and here we are. And it's crazy, but you got to see the show. I mean, it's probably almost better to watch it on TV because there's so many different things. So I've TiVo'd it, and I can't wait to watch it.
We can't go down the whole rabbit hole today, but just know that they are huge names in Las Vegas. They are very rich. They have connections with Larry Rudolph, who was Britney's manager for 20 years, and Irving Azoff, who is the CEO of Ticketmaster / Live Nation / who knows however much else big it's going to get, because they're just going to keep letting them monopolize everything in the world. And that's why y'all got to pay $15,000 to sit at a Taylor Swift concert, but I digress. These Maloofs, they've owned probably people, to be honest, but what do I know? Sports teams, they've owned casinos, resorts, they've been $400 million in debt and somehow survived it. I don't know how. Regular people can't do that. But Britney Spears is strongly associated with these Maloof brothers, and they're like old creeps at this, but they're like old coots. They're like in their 60s at this point, like grandparent age. And what were they doing hanging out with Britney in 2007? It's very weird, but it's like one of them taught her how to play blackjack in Vegas when Britney was 21 years old. So that just goes to show that she's had a connection with this Vegas scene and these Vegas people for a long time. There's another article here that addresses whenever Britney did get married in Las Vegas at the little chapel or whatever, and she was actually staying at the Palms Hotel. The Palms Hotel is owned, or was at the time, by the Maloofs. It's widely known that one of these Maloofs, I guess it was George, they both look so disheveled all the time, hooked Britney up with a lawyer that would help her annul the marriage. But if you listen to Jason Alexander, the other half of that marriage, talk about this story, it wasn't hooking her up with a lawyer. It was a scheme. They had Jamie Spears come in, Lynn Spears come in, other people, Larry Rudolph, everybody was in. Everybody was trying to figure out how to undo this marriage. And we've talked about this before. I believe the reason they were trying to undo the marriage in the first place was because they wanted control of her assets. They wanted control of her brand. It's hard to control somebody whenever they're legally married and their spouse is entitled to some of their assets. So yeah, he hooked her up with a lawyer. I'm not excited about that. It actually makes me suspicious. What lawyer came in and unraveled, probably hooked up himself with Britney Spears and hooked up Jamie Spears with a lawyer, is what I would guess. It's just so hard for me to separate all of the things that we have now found out from these lawsuits, other lawsuits with that Malaysian billionaire Joe Low. He financed The Wolf of Wall Street, which is a debaucherous movie in and of itself. He had Britney Spears jumping out of his 34th birthday cake or 31st birthday party cake during the conservatorship. Someone else legally agreed for Britney, because she couldn't legally, to jump out of a billionaire's birthday cake in Las Vegas. Then we have Britney Spears saying she never went out. All the time she was in Vegas for years, she went out once or twice ever. Like, why did they want her to party all that time in her 20s just to drum up the excitement for Vegas? And then she couldn't even enjoy it by going out whenever she was working as literally a slave in Las Vegas at these people's hotels, at least one of them. It's like, I'll fact check that. I don't know if they own the one she was at, but they like basically own Vegas as far as I'm concerned. And Live Nation, Irving Azoff probably had something to do with all of that. I mean, y'all, the web is unraveling. The web is webbing. And as the more I pull on the little bottom string, it's just uncoming and uncoming. And it's like the people that I'm running into, like now we have this P. Diddy and Britney Spears connection. And it's like, wait, I've read these lawsuits, what Cassie said she was having to engage in, these freak offs for days on end. She would have to get IVs. She was physically hurt. She would have to get IVs because she was so dehydrated from being forced to do this. It was being filmed. It was being recorded. Then we have Lil Rod Jones making the same allegations, all against P. Diddy. And you have a passing out on the floor, Britney Spears in the most vulnerable position of her life at a party where Cassie is. Things to think about. It's just things to think about. And we could close it off with this other clip of Young Miami. I'm just gonna let her speak for herself.
So how many rounds you be going?
You know.
Baby, let me tell y'all something. On which yacht? This nigga don't go to sleep. I be like, God damn. I'm gonna tell y'all something. For real. I really thought that I was gonna like make him tap out. Like I really thought he was gonna be being out no chance. This nigga don't go to sleep. Like I be like, nigga, go to sleep. You gotta be energized, you gotta be charged up like a Tesla.
When you going off the grid with me, you gotta go to sleep for a week.
Yeah, because it's definitely giving us sleep.
That's all I really had for today. Make sure you're subscribed and your notifications are on so that you can see the next installment of The Web. It might have something to do with a certain love triangle. Facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye. This is how they do it. It is a hit. It's a hit. It's a targeted individual conspiracy hit. It's what it is. I mean, it just clearly is what it is. That thing, and she didn't even go into all the details about that night with the Gimme More and the 2007 and all that. Like it wasn't just that like stuff was going wrong with her hair extension. No, the hair extension people didn't show up to fix her hair. She was supposed to be performing with like David Blaine or one of those dudes. Didn't bother to show up. There was like whole acts that didn't happen. And she had to like basically just learn a dance that day. Then you have Justin Timberlake not accidentally running into her. That wasn't an accident. That was orchestrated. You mean to tell me nobody knew out of both of their handlers where Justin was and where Britney was? No, hell no. They crossed their paths on purpose just to F with her because they needed people to be talking about the VMAs. This is the MTV, VH1, Viacom hit is what it is. That's how they operate. They doing the same thing to Bam Margera right now. Hello, it's the same people. Anyway.
Y'all know damn well that Lindsay Lohan and Jessica Simpson was not using no Proactive. So Diddy wore Proactive. Now, y'all into skincare products. Now y'all think it's official. Well, I got a secret. I was up on Proactive for 7 years. That's why I got the silky smooth cocoa butter skin. So Lindsay, Jessica, you're late. You should have followed my pretty ass from the beginning. But now you're late.